Good evening and welcome to tonight's Newswatch special report. I'm Silver Barker.
And I'm Haley Swano. Tonight we are focusing on environmental stories in Southeast Ohio, especially Athens County. We're looking at organizations and individuals around our region who are doing the most to make a positive change.
Now, starting with recycling. Recycling is something we've been taught to do since grade school.
Oh, yeah.
But when you recycle, do you know where your trash is going?
I'm going to be honest with you, Silver. I don't really know much about the process, but reporters Lucy Schaefer and Donovan Varney, they're live with the answers.
Yeah, guys, we're outside of the Athens Hocking Recycling Center, otherwise known as AHRC, and we're currently under the shelter where the natural process of recycling or composting takes place. And here at AHRC, well, this is where the magic happens.
Now, we got a chance to tour this facility, and we're here to tell you what we saw, how recycling works, and how it has an impact on the world around you. Do you ever wonder where the materials in your blue bin go? The Athens Hocking Recycling Center takes care of it all. And according to Krista Cummings, the executive director at AHRC, the facility contributes to Athens' positive reputation with recycling.
The sorting facility started to get built and was operational by 2016, and it has allowed this region's recycling to just grow exponentially.
The Recycling Center became a nonprofit organization in 2014 and established a materials recovery facility in 2016. AHRC dates back further than you might think, all the way back to the first curbside pickup establishment in Ohio.
The Athens and Hocking area has really been at the forefront of recycling in Ohio since the late 80s. So Athens had the first curbside recycling program in the state of Ohio.
The process begins with sorting and takes a team of people and machines.
We have it all dumped off in the back of the building. It's this huge pile. And from there, it gets put onto a conveyor belt that takes it up to a second story. And all of the mixed recycling is sorted through a combination of machine sorting and hand sorting.
The materials are then baled and shipped by semi-truck to other facilities for processing or further sorting. Prominent materials like paper and cardboard are sent to paper mills around Ohio and are mostly made back into boxes for Amazon and online ordering. Compost is sent to local farmers and gardeners around the region.
It's definitely worth the effort you put in. It is not ending up in the ocean or overseas. It's all going to recyclers that are in the United States and becoming useful products.
Athens is better than those other areas because of their low contamination rates. According to an AHRC press release, the city's contamination rate in recycling sits at 10% versus the national average of 18 to 20%. This means that Athens is less likely to put non-recyclable items in their blue bins than most of the country.
When everybody in the region actually does the recycling, it results in millions of pounds of recycling collectively that we're diverting from the landfill.
These low numbers put Athens on the map. In the effort to lower that 10%, the city promotes recycling on the sides of dumpsters around Ohio University's campus, as well as enforces the ban on the distribution of plastic bags. Ohio University sophomore Estella Giomini says that it doesn't go unnoticed.
No, I think Athens is super environmentally friendly compared to other places that I've been to. Here's one of the cleanest places that I've seen.
Athens advertises reduce, reuse, and recycle. Limit your waste, use materials until you can't anymore, then recycle them. Residents can strengthen their environmental impact as a community. Athens is clearly on the offensive and is contributing to a healthy local environment.
Yeah, because of places like AHRC, Athens is now cemented as a leading participant in the global effort against climate change. For Newswatch, I'm Donovan Varney.
And I'm Lucy Schaefer, live from Athens.
Thanks, Donovan and Lucy. AHRC is continuing to process recycling for Athens, but come summer, the state of art operation we just heard about may go under.
That's right. Joining us live in studio with the plan to save AHRC is Newswatch reporter Jack Green.
Haley and Silver, the city decided back in November it was parting ways with AHRC. This was a major financial blow to the nonprofit. Now, in an effort to save AHRC, local communities are creating a council of governments. But time is running out and potential members have yet to reach an agreement.
But we want to make sure that we're getting things right. So
Athens city officials provide an update on a council of governments that would bring trash service back under government control. The potential members of the COG include Athens, Logan, Amesville, Nelsonville, the Athens Hocking Solid Waste District, and Athens Hocking Recycling Centers. The group has been meeting since Athens' November decision. Service Safety Director Andy Stone says talks have been productive, but there are a couple points of conflict.
We've proposed that the entities that pay the most into the COG, whether for dues or for services, should carry the most weight. There's some other members that don't think that should occur. If you're paying 40% of the revenue that goes into the COG in a given year, your vote should be 40% of the decision making.
Stone says if a COG were to form, it is expected Athens would end its contract with Rumpke, making Athens the COG member with the most customers. This is because the city has a franchise district for trash collection, which means every resident in the district has to use the same provider.
If all of the ratepayers in the city of Athens are the entity that are putting up most of the money to do that and are being asked to pay for that, then Athens should have the most authority when it comes to decision making in the COG.
Only Athens and Nelsonville have franchise districts, so the COG would serve all their residents. Stone says the solid waste district in particular is opposed to the vote change. Jane Forrest Redfern, director of the solid waste district, says the whole idea of the COG is to move the region forward.
When you're moving together as a region, you have to feel like you're an equal player. We can utilize the resources and the waste as a material for future.
And as time runs out to save AHRC, Stone says he does not want to make a quick decision that could hurt the city. As for what's next for the COG, Mayor Steve Patterson says the administration wants outside legal counsel to look over its agreement and bylaws. Then the city council will vote on joining. The next meeting between all potential COG members is scheduled for Tuesday. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Jack Green, live in studio.
Human activity generates waste. However, waste generated and placed in landfills retrogrades the county's goals to preserve the environment. Newswatch reporter Reese Thompson joins us live in studio to explain how the trash process impacts Athens.
Thanks, Silver. Producing trash is inevitable, but often not thought about is the long-term consequences once your garbage leaves the house. Dissecting the process of trash decomposition and how it harms the environment provokes Athens to find sustainable solutions.
It's an unavoidable part of your day-to-day routine, and not a pretty one. Taking out the trash. For most people, they don't give what happens to their trash a second thought once it hits the curb.
A lot of people just put the garbage out on the curb and don't worry about it.
Each year, an average of more than 13,000 tons of trash end up in the Athens Hocking landfill, according to the Athens Sustainability Action Plan current data. That's the equivalent to over 26 million pounds of garbage.
It's basically a big hole in the ground, and there's usually a cliff there where garbage trucks simply pop open the back of their trucks.
The trash is then compacted in the landfill, but the decomposing organic material in the landfill creates methane gas.
Anything that goes into the landfill is going to generate methane, which adds to global climate change. So if we can reduce the amount of waste we're generating, it's going to benefit our entire climate.
Methane is a potent greenhouse gas, meaning it affects climate change by contributing to global warming, according to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. Athens Environmental and Sustainability Committee Chair Amy DeLocke says methane is more avoidable than other greenhouse gases with slight adjustments.
Carbon dioxide is so intertwined with, how we get around and heat our homes and everything. But methane really presents an opportunity because with some fairly small changes, like composting instead of landfilling your organic waste, you can get methane emissions, reduced more quickly.
DeLocke started making small changes in her own home by composting her organic trash, knowing the process of composting won't contribute to the release of toxic emissions, unlike landfills.
When you're composting, you are actually allowing that material to break down in the presence of oxygen and heat and microorganisms, and so you don't get the methane.
Jeffrey Myers spoke out on behalf of Rumpke's efforts towards sustainability since becoming the local trash collector. Quote, innovation to preserve the planet is our mission. Managing waste responsibly is a critical public service that needs to be done. and Rumpke strives to be the best provider of that service available. Athens is an important community and neighbor. The Athens Hocking Solid Waste District also emphasizes the importance of preserving the planet. They plan to use part of the city's disposable fees to educate the community on waste management and making recycling more accessible, to encourage community members to think twice before the next time they leave their trash on the curb.
Forrest Redfern says Athens is recycling about 28% of total waste, while mentioning other countries have recycled up to 94% of total waste. While the county is utilizing waste more effectively, she emphasizes there's plenty of room for improvement. Live in studio reporting for Newswatch, I'm Reese Thompson.
Coming up, what Athens is doing to prepare for disasters like the East Palestine train derailment.
Weather forecast or to rewatch tonight's specials, follow us on Instagram, X formerly Twitter, and YouTube.
I was driving down the road and I had a flashback.
I thought I was there. I thought we were under attack.
You know, the very next day while I was on terminal leave, that's when the nightmares started.
The minute I met you, I knew my life would be different. You just had that look of reassurance, determination, and strength. Like you were saying, I got this, follow me, let me be your rock, and you will be okay.
Tonight at 10 on WOUB. For more than 70 years, WOUB Public Media has been the place where people in our region turn to learn how stories of the past ignite the imagination of the future. It's where information, entertainment, and education work together to inform, enlighten, and inspire generations. It's the place where the community gathers to hear and see our world in new and innovative ways. WOUB, the public media you trust that's worthy of your support.
Times are changing.
Every nut and bolt, you know its breaking point, but the humans have not been quantified.
I'm here to serve, I'm here to learn, I'm here to grow, and so whatever happens, just remember that.
I was diagnosed with Parkinson's at 39.
You never know what's going to happen if you don't give up.
Holding it together is more exhausting than the disease itself.
You might live.
You have to hunt. If you don't do subsistence activities, you die.
It connects us to our past.
Over a year ago, a toxic train derailment disrupted everyday life in East Palestine.
Since then, people have wondered, what if it happened in their community? Joining us live in Athens with some answers is Newswatch reporter Parker Kapranica.
Haley and Silver, the Federal Railroad Administration reports nearly 9,000 train accidents occurred last year, with over 250 coming in Ohio. Now here in Athens, trains containing hazardous materials routinely pass through the county, leaving the door open for a similar derailment here.
We have emergency operation plans in place, but due to where the emergency is, we can't predict where we're going to evacuate or the route of evacuation.
Teresa Imler, director of the Athens County Emergency Management Agency, says trains carrying hazardous materials move in and out of the county every other day, meaning an accident similar to the toxic derailment in East Palestine is possible. In an effort to prepare, the EMA held derailment training in the village of Jacksonville last September.
We had a train that was leaking a chemical, and we literally set it up like an actual response. We had fire departments responding. We had the railroad there. We had Ohio EMA.
It's trainings like this, Imler says, that help first responders before even getting to the scene.
Athens County 911, when that call comes into them, they have a set of standard operating guidelines that they have to follow. So if they enter train derailment into their CAD system, it'll tell them exactly who they need to notify.
But as a small EMA office, In a big emergency, the county can only do so much.
You have this mass emergency, not one small county in southeastern Ohio could handle in East Palestine. We would have to count on our neighboring counties for our support, whether it be Perry, Vinton, Jackson.
As for the railroad companies, Connor Spielmaker, Senior Communications Manager for Norfolk Southern, says the company is working to help prepare first responders. He says the company has, quote, increased access to training for first responders, providing training to more than 5,000 first responders in 2023, and adding additional stops to our safety train schedule. Spielmaker says for tracks operated by Norfolk Southern, the company has, quote, launched a next-generation digital inspection portal to add an additional layer to train inspections, and are on track to complete the goal of shortening distances between hot hearing detectors on our court network to approximately 11 miles apart by the end of the year. As for what you can do to prepare in the case of a derailment like what happened in East Palestine, or for any disaster, Imler says it's always important to have a plan.
They should have a means of communication on how to contact their family member. They should have resources, supplies. They should have a plan on what they need to do if there is an evacuation order. You don't want family members searching for family members.
Now, Norfolk Southern has began construction of a new regional training facility in East Palestine and plans to invest at least $20 million in the center over the next decade. For Newswatch, Parker Kapranica in Athens.
Thanks, Parker. Well, farming is unpredictable. You never know what the weather is going to bring, and when the weather doesn't cooperate, it can be stressful and disheartening. Newswatch reporter Haley Hollinger joins us in studio with more.
Thanks, Haley. You're right, it can be, and there's actually a new term to describe it, ecological grief. And it's usually used to describe the grief farmers feel due to changing ecosystems and environments. However, there's much more to the term than its stark definition. And we'll have that for you guys in the next block. Thank you.
Well, coming up next, we are looking at an interview with a special guest. That is Jeffrey DeBelco. He is a professor at Ohio University of the Voinovich School. For more in-depth look at tonight's stories, you can listen to WOUB's news podcast, the outlet on Spotify, SoundCloud, and Apple Podcast.
They try to erase our identity as Ukrainians.
Thousands of Ukrainian children taken and held by Russia.
They try to impose their distorted version of history.
Families searching for their loved ones, and the investigators following the trail of alleged abductions.
We're still hoping to bring them back home. They are still our children.
Tuesday at 10 on WOUB.
Subtle rises in sea level.
The demise of coral reefs.
Devastating changes take place.
These events are climate change.
It's really a crossroads for humanity.
This is serious.
To heal the earth, we have to think of new ways.
Let's figure it out.
It's science, it's engineering, and it's conservation.
A new species.
Amazing.
The greatest opportunities are in chaos.
It is a breakthrough.
We're at a period of remaking the world.
Addressing global crisis.
We can change the earth.
We're doing this for the future. If we don't, what then?
When my parents left us their home, we weren't sure what to do with the property.
Do you have land, residential, or commercial property you're not using? Donate it and support our station. You may even qualify for a sizable tax deduction.
It feels good to be able to give back, and they would have loved that too.
Your real estate donation can make a real impact. Call us toll-free or visit us online.
Joining us now in the studio is Jeffrey DeBelco, an environmental studies professor at the Ohio University Voinovich School of Leadership and Public Excellence. Jeff, thank you so much for joining us here.
My pleasure, Silver.
Yes. So let me just get this straight, right? So you were involved in the 5th National Climate Assessment, correct? And you were the co-author on the International Assessment.
That's right.
All right. Well, bringing it in now, I guess, into Athens and then into the Appalachian region as well. From these findings too, and what can you contribute about climate change here in Athens or Appalachian area?
Yeah, the National Climate Assessment very explicitly addresses this region. And it's typically thought that the Appalachian region is insulated from some of the worst effects of climate change, right? We're not on the coast with sea level rise and extreme weather. We're not out west through the droughts and the wildfires. And folks are even thinking that maybe the Midwest is a climate haven where people would be fleeing from that, those threats. But in fact, we have a lot that's changing and a lot that's of concern. Heat. So higher heat temperatures, especially the fact that it won't cool down as much at night. It's almost doubled since when I was a kid here in Athens County. And so that's particularly dangerous for older adults who are really susceptible to those heat effects. But also the lack of the cold, right? We're not going out and hiking as much because there's so many ticks and the Lyme's disease, and so increased factors there. On water, it may even be the same amount of water, but if it comes in just a few storms instead of spread out, that's bad for the farmers and bad for flooding, which is a big problem in Appalachia. And then finally, the dynamics of climate change happening literally thousands of miles away can have a big impact here. Last year, Columbus had some of the worst air quality in the whole country because of Canadian fires and that wildfire smoke.
Well, thank you so much, Jeffrey, for being here as well. And that was a lot of really great insight, too. I know everyone's always interested in knowing, climate change. How does it affect us here? But for more information as well on the National Climate Assessment, be sure to check out globalchange.gov.
Still ahead, how a community in the foothills is learning how to live more sustainably.
On Masterpiece.
I can't believe it. I thought we were on our own.
Not anymore. We're all fighting back every way we can.
I think I feel a campaign coming on.
The system is robust, and we have nothing to hide.
The post office left a trail of destruction, and we're just sitting around chatting about it while they're still ruining lives.
Mr. Bates versus the post office on Masterpiece.
Sunday at 9 on WOUB.
On Masterpiece Mystery.
What's happening?
We're going home.
Where are they?
I'm not involved.
You're involved.
This could be your career.
Ruin it.
That way!
You look tired, son.
The final season of Guilt.
Aye, Kenny.
No. On Masterpiece Mystery.
There's nothing like it.
It's a crossroads moment for humanity.
It's really exciting to watch.
Yeah, don't miss it.
Armed with a fistful of daggers, raptors have risen to the top.
What begins as simply a story can go on to inform the kind of world we choose to create.
We have this incredible story of our continent laid out for your viewing pleasure.
Wednesday on WOUB.
WOUB is recognizing members of our Cornerstone Society. The Cornerstone Society is a group that wants to ensure the future of public media in our region. It includes people across our area who value news, entertainment, and cultural programming, as well as the educational services WOUB provides. Also included are graduates of Ohio University who took part in the WOUB Student Professional Development Program. Thanks to the Cornerstone Society for their generous support. To learn how you can be involved, email woub@woub.org.
Well, finally tonight, you may be wondering how you can live more sustainably. Newswatch reporter Dylan Richardson brings us that answer.
Luckily, there's a unique opportunity right here in Athens that could be a great first step.
Located in the Appalachian foothills of Southeast Ohio.
It started literally as a dream in 2011.
A 16-acre nonprofit dedicated to teaching others how to live more sustainably through experiential learning.
We often say you're going to start a habit, start a skill, and develop a habit while you're here.
Co-founders Dr. Lindsay Rudabaugh and Travis Harding offer everything from short-term workshops and discussions to residential programs. Short-term workshops may teach knot tying skills, campfire building for heat and cooking purposes, or food dehydration tricks. Long-term options include a week-long program called the Tenderfoot Classic.
Everybody moves in, we have an orientation, and then 5 days we spend morning in what we call crew time, lunch, big communal lunch, and then afternoon of class or discussion or even experiential project time.
Tenderfoot also offers a summer internship program for college students.
We talk about the lives that we lead, and we allow the students to explore possible different sustainable life choices within that.
This long-term sustainable education impacts the lifestyle of participants like Ohio University student Alyssa McHugh.
Some days you would be working with a chef. They brought a chef in, and he is pretty specialized within sustainable cooking, so he does like a lot of reusing stuff that you would typically throw away.
While McHugh says food is a universal way to live more sustainably, her time with the lab has allowed her to really test what works and what doesn't work when practicing better sustainability.
It's good to experiment. It's good to, think of a few different ideas that you have, test them out. If one doesn't work, that's okay. You can come up with another idea and see if that one works.
Seeing people of all ages coming together and try and make a visible difference in the world is a gift of hope for everyone at Tenderfoot Learning Lab.
If we can help folks live a healthier life in relation to the planet and themselves, and to help them understand the connections that we have not only to nature but to each other, then we will have been planting seeds in minds that come through here for a better, more sustainable life ahead.
Sustainability starts with you. Head to tenderfootlearninglab.org today. You can stop by the Tenderfoot Learning Lab for a day visit or stay for a full 15-week residential program. For Newswatch, I'm Dylan Richardson, live in studio.
Thanks so much, Dylan. Yeah, Dylan and I had the opportunity to work on that story together, and it was really amazing, some of the opportunities they have right here in Athens, Ohio. It's really amazing.
Yeah, I second you on that. I definitely agree. I mean, just watching all of these stories too back, I mean, the sustainability, again, talking about that, and then also a lot of other environmental concerns here in the Appalachian region. I think that's very interesting and beautiful to see it all put together. And
I think
people
even,
concerned.
for anybody even who's eco-curious or has never really, known ways to be sustainable in their own lives, Tenderfoot's a great start. All these amazing stories we had today are great ways to make sure you're looking out for the environment here. We have a lot of unique opportunities in Appalachia. So
yes, I think that's incredible and amazing. I don't know how many times I'm going to say it, but it really is, because coming from where I'm from Cleveland, so going to Athens is awesome. So,
absolutely. Well, thanks so much for watching. That does it for our special broadcast this evening. I'm Haley Sueno.
And I'm Silver Barker. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, all the stories from tonight can be found on our social media along with tonight's weather forecast. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.